So what they want you to believe is that there is a newly discovered illness that is sweeping across large swaths of the population and wreaking havoc in the process while growing stronger and stronger with very few options for treatment available to those particularly in lower income brackets, socioeconomic groups, and particular demographics and neighborhoods that are systemically prone to greater loss at the hands of the world's leaders. Different branches of government, the banks, schools, education, jobs, income, wealth, investing, savings, etc. And sadly, there will not be a mass mandate set because these symptoms and adverse effects will be immune to the minor filtration that an N95 could ever offer. All this at a time when a newly introduced bipartisan bill would require parental consent for minors to use social media. And the Pentagon doctor claims that prescribing transgender drugs to minors can cause psychotic illness to melt away. And after nearly 30 years, a national study examines a quote unquote mystery Gulf War illness while veterans anxiously wait for relief. This is truly a sad state of affairs and may lead to the potential execution of a widespread state of emergency that would blanket all of the United States of America, forcing a deep state of recession, depression, and potentially irreversible degradation of the population's long-term mental health that would be beyond repair, and almost would need a full reboot or reset if we wanted any chance at survival. March 2023, the state of Utah bans teens under the age of 18 from social media without parental consent. Republican and Utah Governor Spencer Cox signed into legislation a bill prohibiting minors from using social media without parental consent, and the nation's most sweeping regulations targeting kids and teens' internet use as criticism of social media platforms reach a fever pitch nationally. April 2023, Texas kids would need parental consent to create social media accounts under newly proposed House bill. The Texas House approved a bill that would require digital service providers such as a social media platform to get consent from a parent or a guardian before entering into an agreement with minors younger than 18, including to create an account. And under House Bill 18 from Republican Shelby Slauson of Stephenville, social media companies will need to get consent from the parent of a minor through a form, toll-free telephone line, or coordinated video conference call or email, which would then allow them to collect info from government-issued identification with the expectation the info will be deleted. Although the requirement, however, would not be retroactive for accounts that already exist, for which users already agreed to terms and use contracts, yet services will be expected to fulfill a duty of exercising reasonable care to prevent harm to a known minor. The proposed bill has since been voted on, and the full chamber overwhelmingly approved the proposal with a 125-20 vote. It will now head to the Senate. But I am not so certain that the issues lie in the age of the user on social media alone, in contrast to the content being created and allowed to be posted on social media, especially as it relates to the young and very incorrigible, yet to be fully developed minds of kids, teens, adolescents, and even in some cases adults who will be brainwashed into thinking that they should mutilate their bodies before God and attempt to modify and alter their natural born gender. All while the White House and large companies and corporations like Anheuser-Busch, the woke mainstream media, and others glamorize these poor decisions and underlying cries for help in a state of mental health duress. I'm all for helping to keep kids safe, but our issues go far beyond trying to keep children blind and ignorant of the truth. Perhaps this is the beginning of the end of TikTok, the end of a China-backed organization having access to the fragile minds of this country and the world for that matter. Or perhaps this is the end and a new beginning of total control and dominance by elected government officials with harmful agendas and ultimately attempting to attack and overthrow this country, working from the inside out like a virus or illness that there is no medicine or cure for. Or maybe there will be. Pfizer? But seriously, reports state that children taking antipsychotic medication in the military health system for serious mental illness were later administered gender-affirming pharmaceuticals, according to the Department of Defense health records, with one of its air-based physicians claiming the gender drugs could melt away psychotic conditions such as a schizophrenia diagnosis. A 2021 study published in a medicine journal entitled Mental Health Care Utilization of Transgender Youth Before and After Affirming Treatment discussed internal DoD health records from 2010 to 2018. The review showed that transgender kids in the DoD health system were being given heavy psychotropic medications such as antipsychotics while being sent through a gender-affirming pipeline. Drugs given to transgender youth typically include puberty blockers and hormones, and the study ended up yielding unflattering results on the effects the gender treatments had on kids' mental health overall. Not only did it find no significant psychological benefit, but many children had their psychotropic medication increased after gender-related drugs were administered. Why? Some at ages as young as 7 years old, allowed to make their own decisions with very little education on the futures of their mental health and well-being, which is ultimately being classified as mind control and sterilization, depending on who you ask. But sadly, unfortunately, these are not the worst case scenarios that we are facing right now. And the most severe threat and possible illness that is infecting so many is not one of biological warfare or gain of function or mRNA, but instead an illness that attacks the brain, the heart, the soul, the spirit of the American people who are now under the hypnosis that the government is looking out for them, that they care about us and will continue to protect and provide. Well, that is so long as we fall in line. Relinquish all control, give in, believe the lies. We are on the brink of collapse when it comes to drive, motivation, determination, sheer will, the desire to benefit from what all capitalism has to offer, the joys and accomplishments that entrepreneurialism can produce. I don't need a jab or booster or any injection to keep my mind focused and clear. I see what's happening around me and all that's going on, and I really hope that you guys do too. Maybe one day I will bug out. My family and I will pack it all up and just disappear. But I can assure you one thing, and that is it will not result in hiding out in the mountains or a remote location within this corrupt and self-destructing country. Nope, not gonna happen. Fool me once. No, we will find a beautiful and remote beach somewhere, set up shop, and continue the pursuit of growth, happiness, a better life, love, and most importantly, freedom.